The state initiative, as you know, just put out an energy analysis of the New Jersey Energy Master Plan.
Right.
And we really did take a look, and we did a case study on Germany and the subsidies that went into Germany and the investment that they made into wind energy. And we said at the end of a 20-year investment into wind, the return on investment was between 1% and 3% shift in the energy sources, but a threefold increase on the price of energy for the residents. So to your point of where the economics don't work, they only work if you pass them on to the residents. Let me just ask you a question. So when you saw Orsted One fall, and this was back in October, what did you think?
I knew the fight wasn't over, right? Immediately, I knew the fight wasn't over. And I thought that their defeat was going to be our biggest challenge in terms of keeping them off the coastline. Because again, the average person only has time to pay so much attention to this. They're not a policy nerd. They don't have the time to dissect it the way that you and I do or anything along those lines. And they saw victory. It wasn't going to happen. But what they didn't know was that, Orsted 2 might get awarded this fall for the 4th solicitation. And they're putting a 5th solicitation in place in the beginning of next year. It's going to keep coming and keep coming as long as there's tax dollars being spent. And the irony, if we went onto the beach and we walk down right now, or we walk down the boardwalk and we just grabbed the average person without any kind of extraneous stuff and we said, look, we want to use your tax dollars to support an industry. And as a result of that, we're going to have to pay some international corporations a good chunk of your tax dollars to make this industry get up and running. And then at the end of the day, we're going to charge you more for some of your utility bills as a result of that. Every single one would say, no, that's absolutely nuts.
So where do we go from here?
Well, again, it all comes down to the fiscal responsibility of things. When I was just a small town mayor, I went and I testified in front of the Senate committee, and I talked about how Orsted and some of these wind companies had already had to been financially bailed out by Goldman Sachs and other entities in the past, and it was crickets. I think now, if you're paying attention, you know that the finances of this won't work. The biggest problem with government is when hundreds of millions, billions of dollars have already been spent on campaign contributions, on infrastructure for a project. I think some think that there's no way out of that and they just have to push forward at all costs. But the reality is you always can reel things back in. We always can save our ocean. We always can save our taxpayer dollars. You just have to have the fortitude to stand up and say, enough is enough.